In this video, we're gonna look at how you can create test scripts using Microsoft Excel. The key thing for test scripts is to define test script number, unique identifier for the test script, and then category, test case number, potentially subcategory if that's applicable. Then we need to get a test case description, look at the validation criteria. What does it mean for this test script to pass or fail? And then we want to introduce some execution columns that would be relevant. For example, we can add a column pass-fail or passed after retest, and then some comments for the developer. So let's go ahead and do it. So we'll do a unique ID. So unique ID and then a category for the script, and then test case number. And we'll have test case description column. We'll have validation criteria, pass, fail, pass after retest, and then comments. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to expand each column. And what I just did, it's one of the features of Excel. You can select all of the columns that you're looking to expand and double click anywhere in between the columns, and it will automatically expand it based on the size of the header. So pretty useful feature. I'm going to demonstrate it again. I'm going to do Control Z. So you see how I selected, highlighted all the columns, and just double click in between columns D and E when cursor changes, and it did expand them to the required size. I'm going to delete the top row, and we will mark this one's bold, and for the rest of them we will just create all borders. So our unique ID would be 1.0, category would be claims. We are testing a medical claims application. Test case number would be CL, and then SCR, that stands for claim screen, and then we can put a number 001. So now let's do a description, and typically description is the step-by-step instruction of how test scripts are being executed. So if we have a medical claim application, so imagine the employee who is entering the claim information. This is the unique scenario. Somebody is using a mobile device like iPad, and they are in the medical office, so they're not using PC computer, they're using an iPad or Android device. In our case, this would be an iPad. And employee, assume that this is a nurse, she's interviewing the person, and she is entering all the information. So this would be what we would do as part of this test. Enter patient information to initiate the claim. And we could be more verbose here, and I'm gonna hit Alt Enter, which will create another line within this cell in Excel. Again, this was Alt Enter, combination of those keys, and we will say enter employee name. I'm sorry, not employee name. Enter patient name. Patient name. Enter patient insurance info, and enter provider name, and this would be a doctor's name. So assume that this is the simple test case where all these three items have been entered. Now the application is tricky, and we're going to validate for a couple interesting criteria. This is how we, in this column E, it's going to indicate whether it's a success or failure. So this is the list of things we're looking for to claim that this is a success or failure. So what are we looking for the success? One of the things that we should be looking for, there should be auto-generated field claim ID, and it is typically generated only if all the information is successfully submitted. So claim ID successfully generated. and I used the minus equal sign, so probably not a good idea. So I'm going to remove this to make sure it doesn't treat this as a formula, and that's what Excel attempted to do. I'm going to do Alt-Enter again, and here we're going to say another criteria would be that employee information is displayed, and this is for employee who enters the claim data. And I can put a comments here for employee who enters the claims data. And then provider ID is found. And what we can do here, we can just separate them. Say this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So if these 3 criteria are successful, then the claim passes or fails. Now here, probably worthwhile adding something like once entered provider information, click submit to generate a new claim. And we can also do multiple steps here. So this would be step 1, this would be step 2, and this would be step 3, for example, step 4, and then step 5. Now, pass or fail, sometimes people do P for pass and F for fails, which is workable. If you don't have a large number of cases, what I found useful is if we create an additional column here, and for example, one would be called passed, another would be called failed. And if something passes during execution, you just put, okay, this passed, this failed, this passed, failed. And if we have hundreds of scripts, what you can just do, you do AutoSum, and you say, okay, I have 3 scripts that passed, and AutoSum I have 2 scripts that fail, and this could be 100 and 200 scripts. Sometimes based on application test cases that I utilize, it is showing each tab has a unique set of scripts. For example, this could be claim screen, another tab could be employee information, another tab could be patient information, another one could be working with insurance company, things like that. Now this is also self-explanatory. If test script passes after retest, you put 1 here, and then you will calculate the summary. And in the comments, I typically put in some tricks, or maybe not the tricks, I would say, but for example, maybe test user ID. So we use a test user ID is claimant admin, and maybe you can say password could be password 234, right? So this is for your own benefit as a QA person. And then you obviously populate the remaining fields here until all the test scripts are created. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and see you in the next session. Thank you.